I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you so much for taking the time and coming out and watching over our Bluebirds of Pelham. We're really excited this year to try to get some solid numbers as to how many eggs have been laid and how many have hatched and how many fledged. So this is a nice turnout, and I'm really excited that everyone's here. And without further ado, this is Roger Montbleau, and he is our Mr. Bluebird. And I'll let him tell his story because he does it much better than me.
Well, thank you for coming out, everybody. And can I see a raise of hands of who was not here last year? Oh, wow, great. All right. So we've got a lot of new people that are coming in. And how many people are signed up in the Pelham Bluebird Society?
The Facebook page.
Great.
Yep.
And the rest of you, welcome. And please sign up if you want to. It doesn't cost a dime. So the entire mission statement that Pelham Bluebird Society is trying to make is to preserve our natural songbirds. And the bluebird is probably the only one that without our help, without human help, won't be able to survive year after year to continue the population of bluebirds in our community. So, has everybody learned a little bit about bluebirds? How they went through their almost extinction back in the 60s. Anyway, before I get into all of that, I just want you to know, everybody got a ticket? Did everybody get a ticket tonight? Okay. So all the items that are up there, except for the dedication boxes that you see for Roger and Roberta Lavasser, and for where's our bluebird lady?
There she is. I see her. Priscilla.
Priscilla.
Say hello.
Stand up, Priscilla.
Roger and Roberta, stand up.
Roberta,
as well.
please stand up.
Yay.
So in 1 year, we've been able to accomplish quite a bit. We have seen the population of bluebirds in Pelham really on the rise. The goal that Charity and I have set is to have the highest density of bluebirds in the state of New Hampshire in Pelham. So hopefully we'll accomplish that. We've got some exciting things happen. We've set up a bluebird sanctuary in the Merriam Farm
Conservation area.
Yeah, conservation area.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the help. And Jeff?
Before we jump too far, I loaded up in the Pelham Bluebird Society Facebook page the nest monitoring sheets, and I have some here too if you'd like to take them with you. That way we can count everything and have a tally at the end of the season. So I have them with me, and they'll be up in the file section on the Facebook page. Go ahead.
So I'm sure that you all have realized by now, either by looking at the bluebirds at your feeders, if you're putting mealworms out, or if you have nest boxes that you're monitoring and that you're initiating yourselves into monitoring bluebirds for their perpetuation into the years to come. Our young people that are coming up, okay, we're hoping we'll pass the baton to, because bluebirds' lives are about an average of 7 years. And when the farms started going away, bluebirds are cavity dwellers, and they're also insectivores. Their main source of food is insects, and so cut fields, the fence posts that got hollowed out by woodpeckers or whatever, where they used to build nests, and they build them right out in the open. They're very docile. They're very compatible with man, but unfortunately, they're easily discouraged by predators and by aggressive other types of birds, especially the English sparrow. You know about those, right, Priscilla?
Oh, yes.
Priscilla's an expert at shooing away English sparrows. So wrens can be a little feisty with them also. Anyway, so in order to keep the lineage going on bluebirds, they need our help. So, you know, you'll see that we put up nest boxes all around town. In the Marion Farm, we're making, headway here right now. We have 10 boxes that are presently set up, and Charity and I and the girls, that's Cassie over there, the youngest one, and this is Clover. She's my artistic one. As a matter of fact, what did I do with that box? Did I bring it in?
Nope.
Get out of the car, I left it in the car.
That's okay, we'll bring it in.
I'll have you go get it. Here's the key.
Do you want?
I just wanted to show you what, yesterday was my birthday, and they made a special box for me. I'll get to show it to you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Yep. So,
Let's get started with the presentation because we've got photographs, and then it'll guide you through from the beginning right through hatching and fledging and what to do and the predators. And without further ado,
yep. Let me just finish about the back in the late 50s and early 60s. Right after this, we'll go right into that. Bluebirds were on the, were becoming almost extinct because we were using extensively a chemical called DDT. So their main source of food is insects, and it was killing insects on lawns and everywhere else, but it was a very, very dangerous chemical. And so their population really diminished to the point where they were almost off the landscape. But through man's help, over the years, especially the last 25 or 30 years, they've started to come back. And I started started my bluebird repopulation effort back in 1995 when I met a woman by the name of Lillian Lund Fields. She was from Tingsboro, and I went to her lecture at a Conservation Commission forum that they had, and I was on the planning board, and I was trying to learn what to do with wildlife as we displace them, and how to integrate them into expansion and building and construction and land development. Well, she taught me about bluebirds and came to Pelham and did some lectures at the planning board. She did a slide presentation in 1995, and that's when I started an effort to rebuild the bluebird population in Pelham. At that point, I got the Boy Scouts involved. One of them was doing his, what was it?
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout, yeah, his Eagle Scout program. And the Boy Scouts built 75 boxes and put them all through the landscape of Pelham. And a lot of the seniors were monitoring them. And for years, they were showing her slide presentation on the reruns of the cable TV program here in Pelham. And then eventually it wore away, but there was a few diehards that stayed with it, especially myself. And last year we decided to try to create the Pelham Bluebird Society because I saw a lot of initiative in the town. A lot of people caught on to it. So I said, while this is happening, let's try to invigorate people's ideas and thoughts about it. Because I think if you've seen them or you've had them at your feeders or in your nesting or seen a fledgling of bluebirds, you can never forget it, It's so beautiful. They're one of nature's beauties. So to fill this town full of these beautiful, happy birds, they bring happiness, and they bring good feelings to people. And that's why we're involved. Anyway, let me just show you this and we'll get on with the slide presentation. But that's how it all started with me here in Pelham. So, can you explain this, what this is? Yeah. She's an artist. She's in school.
Hello.
Tell them how you did this. Say happy birthday.
So I was cleaning up my car at Roger's house, and I went into his garage and I stole this from him. He doesn't know that, but this was from your house. And so I was like, well, I want to decorate this for him so that he has a personal one, so that he can put it in his house and look at it because he loves his birds. And he has all these houses along like the front of our house, and so I'm like, he can have one inside too. And so last Christmas I was talking to my mom, and every year since I was a little kid they gave me art supplies because I've liked art, and every year it's like I have a pile of sketchbooks, and I was like, this year I want something different. I want to try wood burning. And my mom was like, are you really going to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll totally do it. This is the second time I've ever used it in a year. So I wood burned a picture of a bluebird onto the side, and then wrote, happy birthday, I love you on the back. And I put a little heart and then signed it and put the date. Yeah, and then I also just used some watercolor to make it look more like a bluebird. But I just wanted him to have something special so that he can look at it and think of me. And then also his bluebirds that he loves so much.
So you know that's become a piece of furniture now. It can't go outside. Okay, we're going to start with the slideshow.
I have it right here too, so you can see.
Yep. So you want me to just read from there?
Sure. This just gives you an overview.
Okay, for those of you people that follow different species of birds, the eastern bluebird is from the thrush family. Males are bright blue with a bright blue head, back and wings. So if you see one flying, Thoreau, our poet, called the bluebird, said that the bluebird carries the sky on his back. So all the way back to Thoreau and beyond for centuries, but Thoreau was captivated by the bluebirds, loved them, and wrote quite extensively on them. Anyway, if you see one from above, all you see is beautiful, a blue patterned back and tail and head. So the breast is brown or an orangey brown and has a white underbelly. Females are lighter gray, a gray head and back, and some blue on their wings and tails a little bit. The males are the real standout guys, they're beautiful. Anyway, their breasts are a little lighter in color than the males. The song is a low-pitched warbling with several phrases consisting of 1 to 3 short notes. Their call is soft, low-pitched, too-wee.
Go ahead. You do it. It's on you.
I know, but have you got the recording?
I'm saying no.
Oh, last year we had the recording of their song. So I'm not that good at being
He's
able to
Mr. Bluebird. I expected a song.
But I will say this: can everybody identify a bluebird song?
He can do it very well.
You can?
Do it.
Can you
Let's
help me?
hear it.
Hold on.
Wow. Right? Woo!
That's it. Yeah.
That was
excellent. Very nice job. It's a pretty song, and when I get out in the morning, it's probably a lot like most of you, they're usually up in the hardwoods somewhere. They like to hang out in oak trees and stuff in the morning when they sing. And I can walk to my car instantly. I identify it. So if any of you have them in your yard and you've listened to them sing, especially this time of year when they're getting into their mating season, they like to impress their brides. So you hear a lot of song from the bluebirds this time of year. And it's really pretty, but you can pick them out. I can pick it out. I'll stop and I'll start to scan the top of the trees, especially where there's not many leaves, dead branch or something like that. That's where they like to sit so they can see everything. And I can pick it out every time. It's when we play golf, we were down in the Carolinas, and I heard one with friends of mine, and I said, "Hey, that's a bluebird." And they're all looking at me going, "No, really?" And I'm looking, I said, "See him? Right there." And so they called me Birdman. Not because I get a lot of birdies, but because I can identify birds. But anyway, so we go on to the next slide.
Yep, we're making it.
So there's the juniors.
I'm just kind of going through and I'm showing just a bunch of different pictures. And then we come to their behavior.
Honey, why don't you?
Well, they're very social. They're very friendly. They're the type of bird that when you have a box like this, you can open the box up and check on them. They're not the type of bird that if you touch the eggs or touch the babies, that they'll abandon them and leave them like the robins do or things like that. So they have monogamous relationships. They love their human families, and once they get to know you and they know the pattern of being fed, all you do is go, "Come on, come on." And they know the mealworms are coming. And so they'll come. You can hear one, if you walk outside, you'll hear the little chirp up in the tree and you go, "Oh, food, I got you covered." And then go in and they will fly right down. It's amazing. You can, some people have them put the mealworms in their hands. They slowly train them to come to their hands. It's so sweet.
Has anybody here, when you have bluebirds in your yard or nesting on your property, you know they're your birds. Those are your bluebirds because they're territorial. And when they nest and they come back to the same nesting year after year, and they'll be in the vicinity of your yard all summer, like now they're staying in the winter, so they're not migrating like they used to. So those bluebirds are your bluebirds. And at one time, there was a pair, we believe they're deceased now, but Charity would come to, out to feed them on her rail. She'd put food on her rail. We got pictures of that?
I've been showing them. Yep.
Okay, so you're going to see pictures of them on her rail. And if she didn't go out there and put the food out, they would come along to the window, peck at each window until they found her in the house.
Around the house. And it was a routine.
Yeah.
So I know that they weren't just trying to, ward off another bird. They literally would go, "Are you there? Are you there? Okay. Fly, fly, fly. Are you there?" It was amazing.
That's true.
I haven't had another female do that. She was my special one.
Yeah.
So the pictures in this are of the couple that was my favorite couple. Yeah.
I have some new ones now in my perimeter, in my nest boxes. I have right now one full nest that's complete, and I'm waiting. It's pretty cold out there, so it's dangerous for them to be putting eggs down right now. But I have a couple of pairs actually that I call out of the woods in the morning, and I'll call them to feed them mealworms, and they'll come right out of the woods. In a minute or two, they'll be there, right up at the feeders, waiting for their food. It's pretty cute, So anyway, those bluebirds in your yard, in your territory, in your vicinity, those are yours. Those are yours. They won't go to my house. They're yours. Mine won't go to your house. All right, habitat and nesting. They're found in the open woodlands, farms, orchards, golf courses, and other areas with open spaces and sparse trees to perch and watch over the house. They can't excavate their own cavities, so providing houses for them helps them survive and thrive. So there's really no habitat for them anymore. Very little. Like the only ones that nest maybe in woodpecker holes, but there's not a lot of that, for them to pick from. And then they get pushed out by aggressive birds. That's why they're out in the open. A box like that would be out in the open in your yard, somewhere close to the wooded area, but out away from everything, because they'll nest out in the open, but nesting up in the trees where the woodpeckers are is dangerous for the babies to fletch from.
They do like to have dead branches or something overhanging so they can look out over their homes. So they don't like to be too close to the woods. You need a bit of separation. And that way when the babies are fledging, they're very close to the brush or scrubby area to be able to protect themselves.
If you're putting up a house, how many people have houses? Okay, so it's only a few people that I'm going to be speaking to right now. If you're putting up a house, put it slightly away from the wooded area, as Charity just said. Try to keep it facing east, because the westerly winds come this way, rain and all that, and you get a cold snap, and the wind goes through that house. The house is made to be ventilated, so that on hot days the babies can get a little air, because otherwise they overheat. So
That's a good segue into talking about the houses, and I'm not sure, for those of you that don't have one yet, he's talking about the ventilation, and that, I can't move it.
oh, you know what? Here, let me show them this one.
There we go. So it has a vent up underneath to let the air in. Some of them have holes on the side, like little peepholes, and this can be opened up. It has the block on the front. It's a predator guard to stop snakes or other big squirrels or anything from getting in. Raccoons, they can't get their hand
Raccoons get their
in.
hands, they can't get their arms down far enough.
And so with this house, it also has the scouring on the side, so as the babies are getting ready to fledge, they have something to grip onto to push themselves out. There's also a metal mesh in here that holds the nest up from the bottom of the house, because that's where you would have blowflies that try to attach themselves. It's like a black fly larva, and they attach themselves to the bottom of the nest or crawl up through to the babies, and it's very
the larvae will draw blood from the babies, and they're not big enough that their blood amounts in their body is not a lot. So the larvae don't have to be on them for too long before it weakens them so they're close to dying.
That's why monitoring is really important. Not only can you see the type of material that they're using to nest with, but you can see if there's some sort of insect or predator that's inside. You can watch the way the nest is being formed. If you see a twig or something else, other type of nesting material, then pine needles or soft grass, you know it's a different type of bird, and you'll want to clean it out, before they lay the eggs, and make sure that your bluebirds are encouraged to be in the nest and they're not.
That little screen grate, what that does is the larvae can't, if they drop through it, they get into the nest material and they're moving around. What they'll do is they go up and down in it, and once they get close to the mesh, they drop through it, they can't climb back up. So in the morning when you're out there monitoring your boxes, I used to take a little stick, and if there was any larvae in there, I'd
Brush it out.
brush them out with a stick. They'd be between the bottom of the box and the grate, which saves them from having, larvae attached.
An early demise, we'll call it. Yes?
You said that's a quarter-inch mesh.
Excuse me?
You said that's a quarter-inch.
It looks like it. I was trying to pull it out, but, take a peek at this house. We'll have it displayed so that you can take a peek at it to see what material's in there. Yes?
What do the bluebirds use to build the nest?
They use pine needles and blades of soft grass. And I have an example of one in a box back there, but I'll hand this around. And you can see it's in the circular pattern, and that's a classic bluebird nest. And they'll build it. You can see how tall it gets in the house, and once it reaches that, you know that you're just about there. It's about 2/3 of the way up. They'll fill it up. And sometimes she puts a little feather in there saying, okay, I'm done. And then when you see a little feather, you see that little extra something. That's her, she's nested.
Yeah.
Yeah, her little flare. I'm going to move on. There they are. See, there's the beginning with a little egg. And I think we have slides that go in. That's her building. She's bringing the nesting material in there. She's the only one that makes the nest. The male and the female share all the responsibilities of being parents, except for the nest building. And then you want to talk about his little dance that he does?
Yeah, he does this great little dance, gets her all excited. He'll go out and grab a few pine needles and he'll put them in the bottom of the box, get her,
Choose this one.
get
Choose
her,
this
get her
one.
excited, and then she'll start nesting, and that's it. He sits back, she builds the nest, and she keeps it clean. You know, when the baby's poop, she'll take that out. And his job is to feed her while she's on the nest, and then to help feed the babies when they hatch.
He's very attentive.
Where was this taken?
That's on my back railing. And there's, those are 5. I don't always have 5. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's more. But this year, that was 5 of them, and that's the male. He's out there feeding the babies. This one, yep. He's up in the tree because you can't really see it, but there's a baby squawking right next to the right of the male, asking for food. Here's your predators, and I'll let Roger go with the predators.
Wrens, does everybody know what a wren nest looks like?
Here, Roger.
Okay, so this,
Yep,
that's a sparrow nest. Right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a wren nest is all twigs, little twigs all the way to the top of the box.
Messy, messy, messy. Twig, 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 twig. And they'll put it right on top of your bluebird nest. So if you see a couple odd little twigs about this big, about the size of the pine needles, take them out.
So what happens is the wrens then are so aggressive and so feisty, and they're about, I don't know, about half the size of a bluebird, but they're really tough. And when you see all twigs, you saw the bluebird nest in the picture and the one just before that. When you see all twigs all the way to the top of the house, that's a wren. Usually it's a wren. There's not much else that builds a nest like that. And then what she'll do is she'll fill up every box around it if you have other boxes, so that you don't want anybody in the neighborhood. They're all dummy nests. She's not going to nest them. She nests in one, she fills them all up with twigs, and then she has no competition. So that's the part, and when they feel like they want to, they don't get a box filled with twigs, and they have a bluebird in it, and she's nesting close by, she'll go over and peck the heads or peck the eggs of the bluebirds, and you'll lose that clutch of bluebirds because she'll just shoo them right out of the way. House sparrows, they call them house sparrows. See the male with the black splotch under his neck? There's a brown head, brown back, and then a kind of a grayish speckled belly. But that black bib under his neck is, a true mark of a house sparrow. But they're also called English sparrows. That's their true name, English sparrows. They're not indigenous of our area.
And they're not protected by the American Bird Act either. So they're considered an invasive species.
You see them in the cities, all the congestion. They can live on anything. And they flock. And then they push out any, and they like the hole sizes of the bluebird boxes. So if you see them nesting in your box, you see them fluttering around your box and starting to build a nest, get right to it, open it up, take everything out, try to shoo them away. It's going to be a little bit of a chore because they're really determined to take that box over.
Can you eliminate
You have to
them?
be a little more determined to get rid of them.
Can you eliminate them?
The question is, can you
Pardon me?
eliminate them?
Yeah,
Sounds like you want to.
BBs,
You-
or whatever.
Yeah.
Question?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said last.
I said, is it legal to eliminate them? Like shoot them with a BB gun or?
Yeah,
Get rid of
they're
them?
not protected.
They're not protected by federal law. And that's the answer we can
And,
give.
yeah.
I think everybody will do what you feel is comfortable for you to do. There are traps, there are different ways of discouraging them from being in the nest, but I don't think that we can tell you, this is what you have to do.
One way of doing it is if you see them get in on a nest. I kind of slowly went up, put my hand over the hole with a big soup spoon, start banging on the box, for like 5 minutes. Then you come out, but they don't want to come back. But you got to be there for a while, until they get it. All right, starlings are, everybody have experience with starlings? They're a tenacious bird, I'll tell you.
That's what the wren looks like. You see the twigs in there? It's kind of messy. They're putting them right on top of the pine needles for the bluebird.
But they'll go right to the top of the box with that nest.
Yep. That's what
There
it
it
looks
is
like.
right there. Right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yep, no, that's fine. I think I have, that's what it looks like. You can see how messy and nasty it is. They do the little feathers. They have other materials that they might put in there. If they find shreds of anything, they'll put it in their nest. They're speckled eggs. You can see that there's some streamers or like Easter basket material in there as well. That's what they look like close up. Good picture. That's a good mug shot for those city birds coming out here in the country. They really are. There's a lot of them in the city populated areas. They sound so pretty, and it's like, oh, listen to the birds. But you'll notice there's no songbirds in those areas. It's because they have come in and they're like, rats or crabgrass. They just take over everything. Yes.
Even if it's not bluebirds, like if you have cardinals or orioles or whatever nesting, they'll go and raid the nests, break the eggs. They're very aggressive.
My question is, how good are they at evading hawks? Because where we live, there's a lot of hawks.
You mean
There's
that?
Cooper's hawks.
The bluebirds?
No, I'm talking about the bad guys.
Oh, how good are the bad guys at evading hawks? And I would say they must be pretty good because I haven't seen their feathers around after a hawk has been in my yard. I have a hawk family in my area, so I don't have mice and a lot of chipmunks and stuff going on right now.
Is that a Cooper's hawk?
Yes, that's a Cooper's hawk. Yep.
Hawks,
He's made himself at home.
hawks
He's
are,
made himself at home.
Oh yeah, and they had a nest in there too, but they don't seem to really bother the bluebirds. The bluebirds aren't chased away by at least the hawks in my yard. They might be in other areas. They make themselves scarce though. I know that when the hawk is around, I know the health of the birds at my home. I can hear them. I know when there's a distress call going on. So I kind of take a peek outside and see who's there. If it's a hawk, I don't put food out at that time. I don't want to make the birds feel like, oh, there's food, and then get scooped up.
that's a sparrow's nest, so if you want to pass that around. English sparrow.
And then here we are at food. So this is why they like the open fields, because it's got a lot of the insects and the beetles and things like that. They love the mealworms year-round. I would say be careful of just feeding them all the time. The dry mealworms, they're like Cheetos. They're good, but they're not really rich in the nutrients that they need. And in the winter, they have a calcium powder that you can kind of just shake on there and get them ready in the spring so that it helps her lay very productive eggs. Yes?
You put the calcium powder on the mealworms?
Yep, just a light sprinkle, kind of like you would be putting salt on a popcorn. Yeah.
Come and eat these.
Yeah, and that's it's also something that the female does after the babies hatch. She eats the shells from the eggs of the first hatching, and then she has the calcium to be able to have nice solid eggs and productive eggs for the next one that she lays. And in the winter, they do have a suet, and they will go after things with peanut butter or the berries in it. There's the blueberries and things like that. So yes, they are insect eaters, but they do like the suet that has a variety in it. It's kind of like it's their winter diet. They do come to the suet, and in the winter, now that they're not migrating, you know, they're sticking around. We've noticed that in the last 7 to 10 years that they've stayed around and stayed around.
Yeah.
We make sure to have the suet out with the mealworms and everything so that they can stay protected.
Water is fairly important in the winter, even
Yep.
though it's hard to stay from freezing. But it's a really important part of their diet. They need water.
And another thing, in the fall when you're getting ready for the winter, you may want to put some dried pine needles in the house just to make a little insulated area so they do have somewhere to shelter if they needed to. They're not going to nest in there, but they may shelter and huddle together in their box. Yep. They usually don't go back in. Like once they're done, it's only for nesting, except in the winter. I've had the bluebirds in there and I made sure to put some pine needles in so they had a little bit of insulation.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Just to add to the food, this winter I experimented with a nutritional winter blend of food that I worked with people from Beaver Valley. Goja is a representative of that, and Cole's blend, right?
Yes.
So it was a young fellow that worked at Beaver Valley. They're members of the Pelham Bluebird Society. But I worked with that Bluebird blend, that winter blend, Cole's blend, and I had it in a window box. You know how you can stick a box to the window feeder, and watched what they were doing. So what we did, I could see what they ate the most of, what they favored, and so we adjusted the amounts of the blend based on what they were leaving behind, what they were eating. And so Goja and I got that worked out with the young man that makes the blend. So that we have bags of it tonight. Everything you see here tonight is we're gonna pull chances and people are gonna go. And by the way, Goja brought this beautiful, if you look back there,
I think everybody
gift
was looking at that basket.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but she said she's gonna put everything but the kitchen sink in it.
It does. That is like the basket I wish I could have my name on.
So some one of you lucky people are going home with that tonight. And you know, and then all our little gifts, which I'll have the girls model for you. We have women's scarf.
Shawls. Yep. Shawls, scarves,
Yep.
little
with bluebirds
for your
on them,
shoulders.
you know. Clover, can you just take one? I'll interrupt it just to show them. Somebody might.
One of the shawls, honey.
One of the shawls. So,
A mealworm, you can put it in a bowl. They have a hanging feeder that has kind of a separation.
wraparound shawl?
It's like two pieces, and they go up underneath, so it keeps the mealworms dry in the rain or yeah. Really easy to find. They're like plastic.
So anyway,
and they have a hook on top, and
we,
they separate kind of like a. Yeah, they're square. There's all different types of feeders for the mealworms, but for me, I spread them
Take
out
one,
on the
take the other
back
one.
on the porch, and they come in, and I mix it in with other type of bird seed blend because I have
Okay.
cardinals and titmouse.
we have one more
all of
that's
them.
going to be raffled off
Even-
tonight.
Try this yet, maybe next Christmas.
So it's spring, so I figured, hey, let's get a few things that make us feel good,
See, there's my back porch. That's what I do. I have mealworms up there, but I have all sorts of other seed for the other birds, and I have a whole bunch of birds that come to the back, even a red-breasted woodpecker that gets up there and is trying to go sideways. It's hysterical. I love it. I love it. This is the snow. I have a hard time. This is them eating their mealworms and seeds in the snow. And there's a few of them. That was in the fall. Of course, everybody likes Cheetos. So, you know, I have my little chipmunk guy stuffs his face with them. And once in a while, I have another kind of visitor. This poor guy was all by himself, but he came up looking.
Yeah, so anybody talking about sunflower seeds?
Yeah, he's an equal opportunity eater. And then family time. There you go.
Okay, mid-March, early April, the mating ritual begins. Males begin to attract their mate to a place to settle down by waving and spreading their wings to bring attention to the choice of house or cavity in a tree. Mostly it's the houses because there's not much in the way of cavities. He brings nest material and goes in and out of the entrance to show off for his girl. He perches on the house or branch to show her that he'll stand guard and keep her safe. The female makes the final decision, and it's quite the romance. So everybody that has a house, I'm sure you've been, watching this go on right at your home. It's fantastic. I love it.
That's their romance. There they are. I don't know. It's, this was that was an early one where they were.
There's a baby that fledged recently. He's up in the branches,
Yep.
squawking like hell, and Dad's out there bringing food to him.
There's the male feeding the female. There's my cute little couple. I love my couple. There she is. There they are. I have a couple. Roger, how many you have up on the edge?
I have about a dozen.
Yep. Yep.
Dozen, maybe a little more.
These are the ones that have fledged previously, and that was in the winter months. I put everything out, and they come, and they let me stand right out there with them. I love the birds. They all know the sound of your voice. They get to know when feeding time is and what you're going to put out, and then they start calling. It's amazing. I love it.
If you go out to bring mealworms or any kind of food to them, suets or whatever, when you go out there, call them. They get used to your voice, and they associate the call with the food. And you can call them out of wherever they are. I've seen them come across the meadow. So once they hear your voice and they learn it, they're just like a neighbor. Hey, come on over.
So this just talks about the type of nesting, and we've shown you the nest with the pine needles, a little bit of soft grass, and it takes just a couple days. If she's ready and the weather's good, that nest is being built in 2-3 days, and she's already on it. This is the time of year when we have the warm weather that they start building those nests quickly. There she is with her soft grass. There's the pine needles. Her little pine needle mustache. She's getting puffed up.
They can build a nest in a day and a half or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the only one that does it. Like we said before, they share in all of the duties, and the male is very attentive to the babies and to her when she's sitting on the nest. But the building is all on her. So she's the one that is gonna make it happen. And I loved the little pine needle mustache. So I had a lot of those pictures in here. I think that the computer jammed up. Look.
I just had a question about the nesting, and you said if one of the bad guys busts in there and starts putting their twigs or anything, clean that out. Do you take out the entire nest, even the one that the bluebird has started?
No, I take out the twigs. I take out the nesting because I monitor every day. When I see that she's building a nest, I'm out there. I'm on top of it just to make sure that nothing happens.
Okay, so don't take out what she started.
No,
Just
no.
what the invaders have created.
Yeah, because they'll usually start with a couple twigs. Once they get started, though, the wrens, they're fast. They are so fast. And don't just take the twigs out and drop them on the ground. Take the twigs out and throw them as far away from that house.
Throw them in
Make
the
it
trash
hard.
can, don't leave them on the ground.
Yeah, make
Build
it
back.
hard.
They can build a nest like in an hour, those
Yeah.
two guys, It's
Yep.
amazing.
And then this goes on about laying eggs can take 5 to 7 days. it just depends on the weather. It depends on what's going on. And once they build the nest, don't be surprised if they disappear for a while. And you go, wait, the nest is there. Where'd the birds go? They just weren't ready to lay the eggs yet. They were ready for the nest, but it just wasn't the right time. And she'll know when it's the right
Yeah.
time.
Sometimes they sense the cold. You know, if you get 2 or 3 days of cold, they'll decide not to put eggs down because it's too cold.
Yes.
You said before that they're really territorial, and they don't, when they go to your window, they're not pecking at your window because they see their reflection.
That one female was different than I imagine the other behavior is.
We have one that keeps crashing into our window.
That sounds territorial.
He doesn't, I don't think he realizes it's not another bird. Like, he seems
okay, yeah.
really genetically stupid.
Yep.
So,
There's
we don't know what to do.
There's window clings that you can put on there so that they see that there's something and it's not just a sheer reflection.
One of the things that
Masking tape on the outside.
One of the things that I did is I had a piece of blue glass on a shelf at the window.
Yep.
So I took the blue glass away, and
Sounds
it
good.
seemed to stop. So did they see color? Did they see blue?
I don't know the answer to that. That's a really good question. But the fact that it stopped when you took the blue away leads me to believe that it must have seen the flash in the glass.
So it's
I like that
actually
question.
seeing through. It's actually seeing the blue.
The Gowans have a
sounds like
story
it.
about that, right? Didn't you have one that was pecking at your side view mirror on your car?
Yeah, I parked my truck about 40 or 50 feet from one of our houses. This was, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago.
Oh, Jeff, a little louder.
So I parked my truck, which has a lot of, I call it chrome, but it's chrome colored plastic. They didn't put real chrome on cars for a long time. But it was very reflective, and one male bluebird just would attack my front bumper over, and I got it on video, but I've since lost the video. Just attack and peck it, and not just once. I mean, it went on for days. I mean, he was an aggressive bluebird.
You didn't want anybody near his girl.
I mean, I wasn't like, right up against this. It was parked 50 feet away, so it's...
Was that your car, Marianne?
What's that?
Was that Marianne's car?
Actually, no, it was my truck, my big silver truck. At any rate, it's the only time that ever happened. The other thing that, weird things do happen though, like last year, or 1 year, the eggs, they must have just gotten too cold all of a sudden, because they abandoned the nest and the eggs, and didn't come back. So that was kind of interesting. And then last year, the first time, as the babies are flying away, which I never seem to catch that happen. But there was one in there, just hanging out in there, big. They get sometimes the babies wind up looking bigger than the parent. And it was a deceased bird. It just hung out there. I was afraid to jump out of the house or what. So weird things do happen.
Yeah, you all have, everybody.
You're not going to find dead birds all the time.
No. When you see like the hawk and baby's pledge, and they can't make it to a tree, well, a hawk can grab them. That's when they're on the ground. It's not a good thing. So we try to keep some kind of shrubbery close by, so that first flight they can fly out and try to land into something.
Great excuse for not mowing the lawn.
And we have an answer.
So, according to Google, the only birds that are colorblind are nocturnal birds like owls, and bluebirds have better vision than we do. So yes, they can see color. So I don't know who said that, but yes, they did see the blue.
Oh,
There's our
okay.
answer.
Cool.
Ask and Google she'll provide.
Okay,
I know. Well, there you go. I've got to update that.
so here's the important part. After the last egg hatches, and the young are 12 to 13 days, so you got it, when the last egg hatches, start counting your days. Put a check on your calendar. And around the 12th to 13th day, you don't want to open the box. I mean, up until then, feel free. They're friendly. And parents, they don't mind you opening and looking. Sometimes they pet them, and, when they get feathers. But when you get to the 13th day, that's when they start to get pin feathers and they get ready to go. They're not really ready to go, but they're starting to spread their wings and doing things. If you spook them out of the house at that point, you know, if they get spooked, then and they land on the ground, they won't stay in the nest. You try to put them back, it won't stay. They're gone. They're going to get eaten by something, and they're not big enough to fly. So stop opening the box after 13 days of the last egg being hatched.
Up until then, you can open the box and take a peek. What we usually do is, if you have a box that opens from the front or the side, I guess, just as you're walking up, put your hand over the box. So if the female's in there, she doesn't jump out at you, jump out and get injured trying to get away.
Right.
And then you can take a peek, and if you see she's in there, just close it up and slowly walk away.
Yeah.
They're not spooked, and they won't abandon the nest because you look in on them.
No.
But it's just out of courtesy if she's on the nest and she's on the
You don't
nest.
want to make her anxiety-ridden. So put your hand over it. If it's a front opening, you just open it up a little. You'll see her crouching down like that. Just close it up. Just walk back slowly so she doesn't get startled. You want her to stay friendly with you, So if it's a side mount, just open it slow. And if she's in there, you'll see her crouching down on her babies. And just back up, let her alone.
Those are the pin feathers we're talking about. You can see that they're formed and they're more like a feather.
Okay, keep going.
Yep. She's feeding. That's just showing that the male and the female feed the babies in the house. It's always so cute to watch them be fed. And this one's fledging. This bird is getting ready. What they do at the time that they're fledging is they start to take a peek out, and then they get afraid. And then they take a peek out, and then they get afraid. But you can always tell when they're getting ready because more and more of their body comes out of the house when they're ready to go.
They seem to
we go.
fly, at my house, they seem to fly quite well right from the get-go.
This one did. You can see the top left where it was poking out, kind of coming out, the first wing spread, and then off it went. They kind of flutter a little bit, but this one made it over to the edge of the woods, and it was Some of them have just come out and fallen down, but then they run.
I've seen some come out look like they had a couple of martinis. I'm going, wow.
Yeah, but if they do come out and they don't really have that great wing spread and are able to fly to get away, they do kind of like hop and jump. And that's why you have the house that's close to the brush, but not right up underneath.
Or it could be landscaping, rotten shrubs or something close to your house.
Yep. And then after that last one fledges, you want to clean the nest out right away because that way it encourages her to come back and use the same nest to have the next
The
nesting.
quicker you clean it out, the quicker that they'll make a decision to come back for a second nesting. And they'll be feeding the young one, what do they call them? The juniors, right? Up in the trees. And they can start right away with another nest. By the time they hatch and fly, the juniors will be helping the parents feed the next generation. It's pretty cool.
That's the one running.
No,
No.
that's
Nope.
it, they're gone.
That's it, unless it's winter and they need somewhere to kind of huddle together. That's the only other time I've seen them go back in was in the cold because the house is
Unlike
just
us,
for babies.
their kids don't live in the basement until they're 30.
And we're not speaking personally. Our children are good. This is one that it just landed on the ground, and the father came to the rescue to help feed the baby. And then up in the tree, still wanting food, even though they're capable. The parents are teaching them how to fend for themselves.
And then it gets to a point, even, they're almost full grown, and they're still crying for food.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the parents will stop eating.
Yeah.
And if you have food out, you'll see them squawking, and they'll be walking on the food, squawking. And then finally they get it, and they start eating it because they're hungry.
And that happens. It's cute, though, to watch them start to feed themselves because they're still kind of awkward when they come up for the food. The other fun fact, though, is that they will help feed the next fledglings.
So there's a typical junior there with his little speckled vest.
Help feed me.
They don't have a lot of blue with that. They can fly pretty good, but they don't feed themselves, but they can fly very well. And they're pretty big, but they don't have a lot of blue yet.
Still squawking even in the tree. And that's them talking to the parents. They lift their wings up, and it's really funny. It's kind of like a little temper tantrum of a 3-year-old flailing around the place with the wings. And then mom takes her turn with insects. See, you can see that they don't eat just strictly mealworms. I make sure that when the babies come out that I hold back a little bit with the mealworms. I don't want them getting dependent on what I'm putting out. So
That's a danger there where
Yeah.
he's in the grass and the father's attentive. He's going to try to feed them and encourage them to come with him.
yeah, that one had just fledged. That's the one that came out of the house and almost like just dropped on the ground. But but after a few minutes, I think it was just stunned when it came out of the box. So it was fine. And that's still calling, please feed me. And then almost tipping off the end of the railing. And here we come to the Merriam Conservation Area.
Yep. And here's a success story for Pelham. We, Charity and I went before the Forest Commission and Forestry Commission and asked them if we could create a bluebird sanctuary in the Merriam. Anybody go to that last fall?
Yep.
Great.
It's right
So-
on Mammoth Road, right, just past Sherburne on the left-hand side is the trailhead.
When the town took possession of that farmland
Hang on one
last,
second.
what was it, October?
Yep, what is it?
My daughter from Maine said, make sure you ask them if it's clear on the Merriam, because I tried it when it was all weeds, and, just, you didn't know what was underneath it, so we didn't attempt to go in.
Yep.
But hopefully, I don't know if it was all cleared.
I walked it a couple of days ago, and it's nothing slippery there.
I'm sure
Yeah.
not now,
I
Yeah.
think you'll be able to. So at the Merriam Farm, what is it, about 40 some odd acres?
Yeah.
50 acres?
Yeah.
As you look down the field, the farmland is kind of long, and on the left-hand side, after you get about 50 yards out into the field, you look on the left, there's an alcove, about the size of a football field, would you say?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the slide to go.
There's two of them. Then there's a wooded area, and then there's another alcove. The farmland is to the right, and it goes all the way down to Beaver Brook. So on the left-hand side, that first alcove, we asked the Forestry Commission if they could get that cut, because it was all high grass. So they cut it for us so that we could bring up the insects. And then we put in 10 boxes in that first alcove. The second alcove, we're going to put in another 10. I have them already. Her and I put 2 up the other day, but the ground is still pretty hard over there, and it was a lot of work to put just 2 boxes in. So,
And a little bit about the Merriam Farm Conservation Area. We're having everyone in the community get involved with keeping this going. It's not just Roger and I, it's all of us, and there's a lot of people that access that land. And we had high school seniors get community service hours by helping us install the first group of boxes. We also are working with the senior center. They're going to be having an eternity garden on the side where the pickleball court is. They've asked to coordinate with us to have some boxes there as well.
yeah, and they want another bluebird sanctuary in that landscape garden that they're building. So as soon as they get it built out, we're going to meet with them and set up, like a design for the bluebirds.
And
That's next.
Yeah, and there's also, Merriam Farm is one of 5 all-access areas within the town. and there's also another group on the side that are working together to come up with a park and rec program using an application. And the application will guide you through the trail. And as you come upon a marking, and we haven't worked out those details yet, but as you come up upon it, you'll be able to push the application. It'll bring up information. And so bluebirds are going to be a part of that as well, so that the younger kids can learn about bluebirds and check the boxes and monitor. And we're excited that it's all access parks in town, because that also allows the senior center hopefully to maybe have a bus stop by and make it so that everybody can go in and enjoy the bluebirds like we do.
So what we'd like to do is invite everybody here and everybody that's in the Pelham Bluebird Society. We've got, what, 164 people now?
This is a picture of that sanctuary
So
area.
obviously they're not all here tonight, but we're going to put out a call to see, now that it's nesting season, to help us, because a lot of people like to use that, just like you were saying, just to go out for a walk and stroll and be able to look at the nest boxes, open the nest boxes, see if there's any predators building nests, take them out, or if it's a bluebird, then just make note that the next time you buy, make sure that, see if you see eggs, you can just kind of see the length of time, you can kind of monitor yourself. So most of you are all experienced bluebirders. So Merriam Farm is the bluebird sanctuary for the Pelham Bluebird Society, the first bluebird sanctuary. We're going to have more. But yeah, I know. We're really excited. So we would love to have you. Anybody, do you guys ever walk Merriam Farm? Did anybody in here walk Merriam Farm? It's the newest one of our trails. It's very easy to walk. It's flat, clear, no more leaves. It takes you all the way down to Beaver Brook, and there's some benches you can sit there. It's very pristine. And the walk through the farmland is beautiful. It's right along the edge of the wood. And they're allowing certain areas to grow with indigenous plants so that we get some types of flowers that bees are attracted to, and that kind of thing. And the bluebirds is just another facet of what's going to happen there. So there's a lot of activity in that farmland. So it's interesting to watch, even if you're not looking for bluebirds. But when we went down there, before we talked to the Forestry Commission, we said, I wonder if there's bluebirds down here. And on that first walk,
We heard them. It was like, where are they? I know they're here.
we saw a couple of pairs.
We saw a couple of them. But since then, other people have been down there. Priscilla's been down there and having a little breakfast and listening to the birds.
seen them down
seeing
there,
the
right?
bluebirds. Yeah, and the other thing, I was out there, what was it, yesterday, I think, today, it was this afternoon, taking photographs, and there were tree swallows. And the tree swallow, I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, they have like a white stomach and purple iridescent on their back, very friendly, and they usually share spaces with bluebirds. So if you go and you see that alcove area down there, don't be afraid that there's some other bird other than a bluebird. Those two generally nest together up in this area. Up at his house, it's like every other house has a bluebird, tree swallow, bluebird, tree swallow.
Tree sparrows tree swallows are compatible with bluebirds, and I would say if you see them nesting, encourage them to stay there, because they're eating mosquitoes, they eat a lot of mosquitoes and things like that, and they're beautiful, and they're very docile, and they're very much like the bluebirds. So if you see a pair of, everybody know what tree swallows look like? Do we have a picture?
No, that's what I was just saying, that they're white and they have purple iridescent on
Yeah,
the
they're
back
absolutely
of them.
beautiful. They got a V tail.
Yeah.
They fly real fast.
Little
Catch
mosquito
bugs in
vacuums.
the air.
Flying mosquito vacuums.
Yeah, they vacuum
They're
up
wonderful.
mosquitoes.
Oh, Clover will walk around with a photograph so you can see.
Can we put that on there?
No, it's on her phone. She'll walk around and show people. I'd like to, the next slide, I think we've gone over the bluebirds, and then the next few slides are the photographs of people that have submitted that have bluebirds in our town. And so it's just kind of a little sampling of what is going on the Facebook group. There's Roger. Here's Priscilla.
Go back to that.
Oh, go back to you.
That is me on a cold, windy day, putting up in the second alcove. That's the first house I put up there. So we're now starting to populate the second alcove with 10 boxes. We're thinking that the entire property will be compatible for about 30 Bluebird boxes.
Yeah.
So we could really use the help, if you go out pocket to monitor the boxes for us, to try to help the bluebirds,
Yeah, he was making sure the boxes were in straight after other people dug the holes. Just saying. And by other people, not me.
On the boss.
It was the boss.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, we
Put your
have
hand up.
we have 3 helpers. No, it was actually Siren.
We try to encourage their boyfriends to come with us.
And our son
noticed.
too. He was out there helping.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's noticed, but in the town cemetery, there are quite a few bluebird
ton.
families.
Yep.
And I don't see anybody taking care of the boxes. But there
No.
are a lot of families there.
You're absolutely, everybody hear that? In the cemetery, there's a lot of bluebird families in there, and nobody is attending the boxes. 2 years ago, I asked Tim Zalonis if I could put more boxes up. He had to get permission for me, and they said yes. So the answer to that is nobody is monitoring those boxes, and my parents are both in
Right there.
right near where the wall is, where there is a few boxes. And we're going to replace them with boxes we can monitor.
Good.
Yeah. We know there's a lot.
There's a lot in there, surprising.
Yeah. Yes.
I have another suggestion too. I don't know if anybody's tried this, but in my yard,
Let me just show you
I
everything.
have,
It's pressure now.
in my yard, I put my bluebird boxes close to my tomato plants. But the best thing in the world you can do for tomato plants is have bluebirds. They take care of everything for you. You put the plant in the ground and come back in August and harvest.
Oh,
Really,
they eat all the insects.
all the bugs,
The
they
cutter
eat
worms.
all,
They don't
everything.
eat the cutworms, unfortunately.
But they,
will
no,
eat
they
them.
take care of the plants for you.
So that's a wonderful thing. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
They're not only beautiful, they're functional.
Oh, very
much.
And these are some photographs from our Facebook page and from our lovely Priscilla, who has submitted them, and she is just loving her bluebirds. I remember, before she had them there, and now she is very active. And if you have any questions, on that Facebook page, she is always right there to answer. It's absolutely wonderful, and thank you for being such an advocate. And I love our society, don't you? We're all in it. If you're on that Facebook page, I consider all of us like Bluebird Society. There's no special, you have to sign up for whatever. We're all in there. We're all in there. Ask questions, post pictures. It's
So you see, Priscilla, we have a special box for you to go home with tonight.
That is so special. Thank you so much.
And if you want that at your house, great. If you want us to put it in Marion Farm, we'll do that. Whatever you want. Okay? Yep. We have the poles to go up. I can put it up for you at your house, or I can put it up for you at Marion Farm.
I think at Marion Farms would be wonderful.
You just decide what. And then Mr. Lavasser, okay? He was the minute we put a box up over in his house and he saw bluebirds, he just couldn't get to his cash fast. He tried to. So you see, we got one here. He's our largest benefactor so far. We haven't asked anybody in the Bluebird Society for money. We just wanted people to help, perpetuate bluebirds. So we didn't want to make it all about money. But what we did decide to do in order to continue, because we got a small amount of
seed money
from
the Forestry Committee.
We've kind of, with this other 10 boxes, we kind of used it up. So what we would like to do is create legacy boxes. So we have a sign-up sheet. If you want one of these boxes in the Bluebird Sanctuary to be yours, okay, will have it engraved. There's different levels. What's the levels?
I have it right here. Yep. Go ahead. I don't have my glasses on.
All right, so if you want to have a box like that, so this is what it'll look like out at the Marion Farm.
Here comes our lovely Clover.
Okay?
Clover, showing the Bluebird box. With the plaque. With the plaque.
That's what it'll look like out there with your name, whatever you want engraved on it, from, you know, the Wilson family, dedicated to bluebirds that we love, or anything you want to say on it, we can have it engraved and put it here, and it's yours forever.
And let me just say that it's not money that's coming to us for this program. Everything is made out to the town of Pelham,
Yeah.
and it goes into the Bluebird Watch Fund. So, and that's just going to put the money back in that we had put out on houses.
Yep.
And that's the only thing that it's allowed to be used for. The town monitors all of that.
So if anybody would like to buy a legacy box for Marion Farm Sanctuary, there's a sign-up sheet right here. You would decide which level you want. This one here is a platinum. Those platinum don't exist except for the panels. But you do have gold, silver, and bronze. And if you want to just be a donor, we're going to have at the Marion Farm a memorial board with plaques for the donors of the days. So,
We already have interest from a couple little kids that want to do a lemonade stand. And I said,
Again.
absolutely, yeah.
again, all of this goes to the town, routed through the Forestry Commission, so we can buy more boxes. That's all. And those boxes will go to finish Marion Farm. We have at least another 10 to put in there besides the 10 we're doing now and the 10 we've already put in. And then they want us to do, what's the other, what's that other?
Well, we, at the senior center, and then there are
The senior
others.
center's something separate.
Yeah, yep.
So,
There's just 4 other all access areas within the town that they will sprinkle boxes here and
Forestry
there.
Committee said, would you be interested in keeping this going?
Yeah.
And other parcels of town land, we said we would.
We said we would.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, you don't have to do any work, unless you want to go out and help dig a hole. Yes.
So that's the only type of box that can be at that place?
No, as a matter of fact, if you want to put a box up there that you like, we'll put one up.
We'll coordinate to have it put up.
Do you have one that you like?
Yeah, I built a couple of them. We put up one yesterday. I got one in my truck. I'm going to put that up tomorrow. Now, say you put like 10 boxes in that place at once. How far apart do you put them?
We're putting them about every 50 to 75 feet, you know. We know that, I know that, you know, we will get bluebirds at that distance. They say to put them about 100 feet, but we really don't need to go that far.
Yeah, because I've been reading up on it. It says it's going to be like 15 feet, and they like to have pairs, 2 boxes.
Yeah, that's another
And
theory.
then if you're going to put another pair, they're supposed to be like, according to this article, 300 feet. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of different,
yeah, so I just wonder how, because the more you have, it seems like you've got a better group, you know?
yeah, but then it's harder to monitor, and then you get more pesky sparrows and stuff like that. So we're finding, you know, 50 to 75 feet apart, we'll get pairs nesting, and it's about, you know, it's easier to handle, you know, watching over them.
Now, how do you mount those? What are you using? A
That-
fence thing?
That's a fencing, a farm fencing pole that you can get it, we get them up at Lowe's, you can get them really anywhere. And they
You can take a peek at it to see how we put
Yeah.
it together.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't, I got
Yeah,
it.
it's already in the
It's
thing.
in the box. Yeah, so at the bottom, it's like a spade at the bottom, okay? And about 2 feet or so, a little more than 2 feet go into the ground. And it's spaded at the bottom so that you can't turn, and then they fill it in, it's, you know, compacted.
Because the thing, the plan that I got, they put it on half-inch conduit, Yeah.
Yeah, this is a million ways, this is pretty easy though.
Yeah.
It lasts.
Conduit plates, a lot cheaper.
Roger, I think,
Yep.
I know that snakes can climb up a lot of poles. Snakes can get up certain round poles. I found those to work really well with me.
Yeah.
They're not an inviting surface for a snake to climb.
Right. Oh, that's a good point. So there's an idea there. Everybody in here has had certain experiences, so, you know.
Well, we're just starting, so.
Yeah, oh, yeah. No. I've never had a round pole, and I know snakes do get up into them, so if it's a round pole that, you know, invites them, you know, probably stay away from that.
Hey, Roger, I'd like to show the pictures up here.
Conduit every day, no problems.
What's that?
I'd like to show the pictures. This is one from Patty,
Yeah, I'm using this.
and these are her babies.
You want to
And I think,
put a
yep,
Patty?
2x2 on the
You here?
box
no.
and then stick it into the
Oh,
top of the
I thought
conduit
she'd come in.
and put
No,
a
I guess not. She's on our Facebook group, and we had asked to have a few photographs submitted, and she talked about having difficulties with wrens last year. But these were some from 2021 that had fledged.
Put it on the Facebook page.
Julie?
When you make comments, you know, I've tried pole, it works, or I've tried pole, it didn't work. Oh, there you are. Stand up, Patty. Are these
No,
your
no,
birds?
no.
Come on.
Roger, this is Julie.
Oh, Julie, I'm
She's the
sorry.
next one.
Oh, Julie, I'm sorry. I was looking at that.
No, these are Julie's.
Ah, wow, look at that.
And was that your first year having birds?
I find there's some here, there's some there. I'm gonna have to go through and find them. It doesn't search out bluebirds.
Nice. Aw,
I like your feeder.
I love that feeder.
Yeah.
What's the store in Nashua, North Nashua?
Wild Bird International, or yeah.
It's a bluebird feeder.
Now, have you had broods once?
We had a lot of broods, especially 2020 was our best year. We had 3 broods of 5 birds.
Wow.
And that was the year we had a camera also in the box, so we watched all summer long.
Those are so
I know, it's so fascinating, isn't it? Yeah, so,
Yeah.
some of your pictures, videos from inside the box on Facebook?
No, but I can.
Put them on.
Yep, Priscilla's trying to do
I
that too.
love them, yeah, this is fun too.
Yeah. And then the next one we have Sally and Tim Morse.
Wow, look at those.
Those I love your photographs, and this is not doing them any justice on this screen. Absolutely amazing.
That's a unique feeder too.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
And you can see on the right there,
What?
I was just gonna say, you were talking
Are
about,
they here?
Right there.
you were talking about them eating
Oh.
other things other than the mealworms. The right-hand picture is one of those cylinders,
Yep.
and they'll go
They
after
peck
those
at it.
in the dead of winter as well.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know that keeps it so they can slowly get to it. Yeah.
That group on feeders is really handsome, aren't they?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Here's some more. Isn't that sweet?
Very nice.
I think there's 2 on here. It's a little
Yeah, there's 2 on the road.
You guys,
But they were out and they were like, what are we doing?
They made it out of the house, but they didn't know where to go. It's so sweet.
you're gonna have some good stories to tell.
The features of the carapace.
Yeah, these are not showing up as well as they do on the screen. We're going to have this PowerPoint presentation posted up on YouTube to be able to click into, and then you can really see the photographs that were submitted. Amazing.
Down toward the Cricket line. This was that snowstorm we just had recently.
Yeah.
And I would go out and I keep emptying the snow out and putting some more. And I could barely get the door closed. They were just pounding all day long. You can see the, actually you can see the.
Those are your bluebirds for sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
We have two females and,
To find the
well,
bluebirds, you
I
have
haven't
to go.
seen the third one in a while. I'm not sure we have three anymore. We steadily have 6 birds, 4 males and 2 females.
Yep.
One of the males is very aggressive,
Well, maybe
and
not.
he
He's gonna
chases
send
the
turn.
other 3 blue males off the feeder or
Yep.
rapid
He seems kind of
And we have 3 boxes, but we only have 1 nest, and I'm wondering if it's because this one male is so aggressive that the others are just like, I don't know what
He's
to
not
do.
a client.
King Kong is coming.
And I think that's it, as far as kind of giving you an overview of bluebirds. And there's a lot of information that we, kind of touched upon, but really didn't dive deep. But that's what the Facebook page is for. If you have questions, if you have, anything that you want to ask, there's so many people on there that have information to share. And we are the Bluebird Society, and let's get these numbers. In the files section is the nesting page to be able to start to, monitor them all so that we can get some accurate numbers so that we can submit it to the state and say, hey, we have the biggest population. We are Pelham.
I wish we could put this up.
On there.
I wish we could put her picture up on screen. It's an indigo bunting. Has anybody seen it?
You don't see them at feeders too often, but we got that one at a feeder.
Yeah.
You can confuse it for a bluebird if you don't know. But they don't have the buff, they're all blue on the head.
Yeah. And then for any of you that aren't on the Facebook page yet, if you just turn your camera on, that should be,
40
you are
years
going to be able to jump right in.
Been here,
Is it working?
45,
Perfect.
46
I was hoping it
Almost seen
would.
buntings.
I think we're going to do
It's weird, I happened to have I had the phone and I was taking pictures of bluebirds. I'm like, that's a bunting.
What they do is they move through.
Yeah.
travel time.
Hey,
That's what time it is.
we got time to this time of the program. First of all, are there any questions or anything that anybody here would like to share?
When do the fledglings start to get their color, their blue color?
After they have already come out, and it's not until the next season.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it takes a while for those feathers to come in.
Okay.
And you can tell they have different markings. It's funny because I've got different bluebirds and you think that all the birds are the same, but they're not. There's little hints of a fleck of white on their neck or on their face. It's really sweet. That's how I knew which bird was which.
Does anybody know the magic of the color blue on the bluebird? Does anybody know why they're blue?
No.
The sun only does that one color.
Correct. Their feathers, unlike other birds, like cardinals and other birds, instead of being in the pigment of their feathers, the feathers are like it's got faceted, like a sponge. Okay, so it's got all these little ridges, and it catches the sunlight, like Roger just said. And the sunlight emits or absorbs everything but reflects blue color in our spectrum. So that blue, if you turn the light off, they would just look like dark. They wouldn't look blue. They're blue because the sunlight refracts from the kind of feathers that they have. And again, the only analogy I can make is like a sponge that, the light hits it and refracts the blue and absorbs every other color. Is that interesting? Yes, sir.
Roger, you left out part of your thing where you, at least when you indoctrinated me into this cult. How you can actually, when the babies are hatched, you can actually like pet them.
Yeah, when the babies are hatched, you can pet them.
Don't try that with a wren nest, however.
With the what?
With a wren nest.
Oh, jeez.
I
You
opened
tried to touch a red? It's like you have a finger leg.
I opened it up and it all fell. So you had babies committing suicide, the parents were like, so yeah, they want to be sure it's the
Bluebirds are compatible, man, but they're about the only ones.
Which one do you want?
We're gonna do raffles now? Let's do raffles.
All right, well, what I'd like to do is, first of all, let's start with the biggest and the best first. Gosha, would you come up here? Okay, Gosha represents the Beaver Valley Farm.
Do you want me to get the basket?
Yeah. And they, as a matter of fact, I'm going to have you describe what's in that basket. We're going to pull a number. Some of you people are going to go home with that.
Right, if you need help going to your car, just I'll definitely do a help run.
All right. Oh, my God.
All right. Hey, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces here. So what we have in this ginormous basket for your bluebirds, your favorite birds in the hood, we have a pound of Cole's famous Bluebird blend, of course. Can't go home without it. We have some Bluebird nuggets, because those are lovely and fancy. Everybody's favorite protein for their birds. We have 1 pound bag of mealworms. We didn't supply any toothpicks this time around for any human consumption. Back here is another pound of cranberries, because they love their fruit. And we have a fabulously crafted bluebird feeder. And then we also have a bluebird nesting box as well in here. So, we're going to grab that number. Yeah, you should be.
Ashlyn.
Thank you, Clover.
Oh, right over here. Right over there.
Come here, guys.
Okay, Andrew, Ashlyn. Drum roll.
Everything for me. Okay. All right, let me read this correctly. Okay, 4, 2, 9, 9, 9, 0, 3.
Who is it? Who is it? Okay, read it again.
No, he got it.
Who has it? Oh, wait.
Oh!
No, Gosha, we got to get a picture of you. Come up here. Yeah, up here. All right.
This is a photo op, Bill. Absolutely.
All right.
Get right in there.
On this side.
Stand on that side.
And then look right over here.
Over here, Bill.
Right, 17 Main Street, right here in Pelham. Just down, you would never know that that's Main Street, right over there.
Okay, let's get a
You
picture.
can walk there in 3 minutes.
Ready?
I like to say a special thanks to Gosha. She devoted her time tonight. She worked all day till 5 o'clock and put that basket together for us.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, and brought it, carried it here. So thank you, Gosha. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for me. So, none of this would be possible if we didn't have Mr. Montbleau here. Mr. Montbleau has been involved with the town and has volunteered on many boards and committees. And I know he wears many hats, and tonight he did not wear the hat that he usually wears, which is the Bluebird Housing Authority. Okay? So, because he didn't bring his hat, and this had no plan on mine, we have name tags for him, but we've now given him the Mr. Bluebird official hat.
All right. Oh, more?
There's one more.
I didn't even have to pull a number.
You didn't even have to pull a number. What I'd like to do is, yesterday was Roger's birthday, and yeah, I'm going to say it.
I went to the gym yesterday, and they had a little party for it, and they made me wear a hat that had a birthday cake on it, candles and everything. You got to see the picture.
So, I already have a microphone on. Okay. So I've been working behind the scenes, and in the honor of Mr. Montbleau, I have received permission to the sanctuary at Miriam Farm has been named in honor of Mr. Montbleau. And we have a plaque. I have a plaque that I'll read for you, and there's also going to be a bench that's going to be placed there. It's one of those Hollywood benches like they have at the senior center. And so it will be there and commemorate, and there's a different plaque, not this one. This is for him to take home. And I'm going to read it out loud. It's Montbleau Bluebird Sanctuary, named in honor of Roger Montbleau, Mr. Bluebird. Known by all for his positivity and selflessness, Roger has dedicated over 35 years to Pelham as a member of numerous boards and committees. He has been instrumental in creating unique spaces for people and nature to commune together. His passion and mission for protecting and preserving bluebirds and their habitats comes to life here in the sanctuary. The Pelham Bluebird Society graciously thanks Roger for always keeping nature and the environment at the forefront of his heart. And we're dedicating this on his birthday, which was yesterday, but it is for his birthday, April 6th, 2020. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight and being part of this special evening. And I hope to talk to you and share more photographs and more, questions and answers and everything else on the Pelham Bluebird Society Facebook page. Thank you so much.
I hope you all had fun tonight. Everybody enjoyed themselves?
Yes.
Great, that's what it was about. Thank you for coming. And please, we didn't pull tickets on the cookies, but you can just grab all you want.